Atheism is a religion. It's a claim that comes up over and over again. On internet forums, YouTube videos, and even in personal discussions, people just can't seem to agree on what it is. After having several of these discussions over the past few weeks about this very topic, I decided to do a video on the subject in an attempt to clear up the confusion so we can all be on the same page, allowing us to focus on having more meaningful and accurate discussions concerning theistic and atheistic views. I hope you find this helpful. Now, before we can call something a religion, we first have to know what religion is. Since the definition of religion is pretty much the same wherever you check, I took the lazy route. Dictionary.com defines religion as a set of beliefs concerning the cause, nature, and purpose of the universe, especially when considered as the creation of a superhuman agency or agencies, usually involving devotional and ritual observances, and often containing a moral code governing the conduct of human affairs. So what have we got? Going by the definition, religion is the beliefs about the cause of the universe, the nature of the universe, the purpose of the universe, devotional and ritual observances, a resulting moral code, and an optional belief in a supernatural agent or agents. So, after taking away the obvious, there are 5 issues that have to be addressed if atheism is to be a religion. This list is actually pretty simple to go through, but there are many misconceptions that get people confused. The first thing people get wrong is thinking that atheism and science are the same thing. This is a common misconception, since many atheists are of a skeptical mind, and all science is based on evidence and reason, which is what a skeptical mind wants. It's not surprising to see so many atheists siding with science. And it's also understandable why people who are unfamiliar with science or atheism would automatically associate the two, thinking that one is dependent upon the other. This, however, is not the case. Atheism actually has no opinion about the cause or the nature of the universe. Though science does have many things to say on these issues, subscribing to them isn't a requirement to be atheist, as atheism only pertains to the non-belief of gods. Likewise, atheism doesn't discuss the purpose of the universe. It only deals with the non-belief of gods. Devotional and ritual observance. I can't even begin to think what atheists would do to even qualify for this one. I mean, what would a celebration of Newtonian motion even look like? And finally, moral codes. Where moral codes come from is a really interesting topic, and though many atheists like to discuss it, morals aren't dictated by the disbelief of a god. So you see, going by the definition, you can see that atheism doesn't have any of the factors needed to be considered a religion. Or does it? A person who believes that atheism is a religion can be shown all of this and still not be convinced. Why? They claim that atheism is a belief, and if you're atheist, you believe in the non-existence of God, and that means atheists hold a belief about the origin, nature, and purpose of the universe. And this is where things get tricky. This is where most people get hung up. And let me make this perfectly clear. I don't blame anyone for being confused by this. Believe me, this is a very confusing issue if you don't know how to approach it. The battle usually rages between atheists claiming that atheism is the lack of belief in gods, while the other side says it's an active belief in God's non-existence. So who's right? To understand this, we need to look at the definition of atheism, the origin of the word, and at a quick thought experiment that will hopefully unconfuse the issue. And as this is an internet video, the thought experiment will involve a kitten. Atheism is a Greek word. Originally atheos, it literally translates to without God. It doesn't state why atheists are without God, just that they are. I know this doesn't provide any immediate help in this discussion, but it's something you're going to want to remember. Now here's a little something interesting about the word atheism. Its definition can vary depending on where you're looking. Check out what Wikipedia says. Atheism, in a broad sense, the rejection of belief in the existence of deities. In a narrower sense, atheism is specifically the position that there are no deities. Most inclusively, atheism is simply the absence of belief that any deities exist. Yeah, that's actually pretty confusing, but if you look just below this, you'll find writers disagree how best to define and classify atheism, contesting what supernatural entities it applies to. whether it is an assertion in its own right or merely the absence of one, and whether it requires a conscious, explicit rejection. However, from this, you can see that the two definitions that keep getting confused are the non-belief and the belief in the non-existence. It may be a little surprising, but the lazy way of doing this actually supplies you with both definitions. Dictionary.com says that atheism is 1. The doctrine or belief that there is no God, or 2. Disbelief in the existence of a supreme being or beings. It is important to realize that this isn't an itemized list. There are two separate definitions, meaning that fulfilling either of these conditions is enough to being atheist. But the question remains, what is the difference between the two? Well, I think there's only one way of answering that question. It's kitten time. Okay, so here's the setup. There's a table. Standing around it are your two friends. We'll call them, I don't know, Bob and Samus. Now on the table is a box. You can't see inside the box, and there's nothing that indicates what's actually in there. Bob tells you that a kitten exists inside the box. Samus tells you that a kitten doesn't exist inside the box. Now, before we go any further, it is critical that you understand that there are two questions that can be asked about this kitten, and not just one. You'll see in a second. Now, Bob asks you if you believe that a kitten exists inside the box, to which a skeptical person answers, "No, I do not believe a kitten exists inside the box, as there is no evidence to suggest or support that claim." Then, Samus asks you if you believe that a kitten does not exist inside the box, to which a skeptical person answers, "No, I do not believe a kitten doesn't exist in the box, as there is no evidence to suggest or support that claim." Did you see that? Not believing that something exists is not the same as believing in its non-existence. As you can see, it is possible to not believe both of those ideas at the same time, as the questions for existence and non-existence are two separate questions. But Mr. Gabadon Chillweasel, sir, isn't not believing the existence and not believing the non-existence of something agnosticism and not atheism? Well, no. Theism and atheism are questions of belief, while agnosticism is a question of knowledge. In fact, that's what agnosticism means in Greek, without knowledge. The short of it is, the theistic, atheistic question is, do you believe in a God? While the agnostic question is, do you know there is a God? The definition of agnosticism is a bit off topic, so I won't go into any more detail than I already have. However, I'll provide you with a link to Fighting Atheist video, You Are Not Agnostic, as it goes into detail on the subject and is much better than I could do. So there you have it. Atheism does not require you to believe in the non-existence of God to be atheist. Though some atheists do hold some beliefs, they are defined as atheist by their non-belief in gods rather than the things they do believe. So remember, no matter how someone wants to look at it, atheism, at its core, is a non-belief in gods. Whether an atheist actually believes in the non-existence of God or not is irrelevant. Some atheists may be religious, but atheism is not. This is shown by the existence of atheistic religions. That's right, atheistic religions. Those are religions that don't have gods. Buddhism, Confucianism, Taoism, these are, in part or in whole, atheistic religions. It is their religion that dictates their beliefs about the world and the universe, not their atheism. It's very easy in this age of communication, where information is at our fingertips every second of every day, to feel the need to call someone stupid for not knowing everything about everything. To me, stupidity and not knowing something because you've never been shown or taught are two different things. I understand that while spirited debate is fun and educational, it also isn't fair, as not everyone has the time to study every facet of their chosen topics. I hope this video has helped to get people on both sides of the discussion a little closer to a common ground, where they can continue to have a meaningful and productive dialogue, so that one day we can all better understand one another. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.